the Vampire Videos pod again on Thursday there, so they've asked me back to talk about the Vourdelac, which I recommended, and then I might not get asked back ever again because I feel like this is one of these films where you either really enjoy it and get into it, or you absolutely hate it. So we'll see how it goes.
I thought it'd be good because I remember you saying you've spoke about it a few times and said, "Oh, don't know if you guys can handle this." So yeah, it'll be interesting.
And is the Cineworld, like, obviously, does that have signs up to say it's closing or
not at all?
Nothing.
Nope.
Just business as usual.
Mm-hmm. Yep. As far as they're concerned, it's business as usual in terms of like the punters and stuff. Obviously, there's stuff going on in the background, and all the staff have been. Well, they obviously got that letter, that email that they got from management. So if there are discussions going on in the background, then between the management company, between Cineworld and the company actually in the building, then I don't know. It's been kept quiet.
Obviously, they've cut the staff down there because like there's no longer a front desk and things like that where you used to go and buy your tickets. But I'd heard that if that gets sold, basically like it has to be sold as a cinema, if that makes sense. So it has to be like Odeon or Omniplex or Vue that take it on, because like it would make no sense to strip all that out because obviously it's already set up. So people were saying that I think it's Omniplex have taken over the one in Clydebank, and they thought they would be likely to take over that one because obviously you've got the Vue down in St Enoch's and that's new. So why would they sort of up sticks and move in there? And Odeon obviously have got like East Kilbride and that one down at the Quay. So they thought that the Omniplex people might take it over, which I hope somebody takes it over and keeps it going as a cinema because town does need.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah,
one of your
whether it happens or not. I mean, it's a prime location. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and it would be ideal to sort of strip it out and turn it into flats. Obviously, it would take a couple of years to do that, but I don't know if the owners are under any obligation to keep it as a cinema because they own the building, so they can do what they want with it. But yeah, it would make sense to keep it as a cinema.
Yeah,
because they can give it away to someone, or they can have somebody else coming in. I think it's got to do with like rents and all that as well. Because remember, Cineworld did a wee bit of restructuring. They were in a lot of financial difficulties a couple of years ago, so they came up with a plan, and part of that plan was that they got reduced rents from the landlords. That seems to be a common thing. Like a lot of these chains, not just cinemas, is like shops and everything as well, they do not own the building they are in. They lease the building and they do with it what they need to do in order to build it. But then the downside of that is when they hit financial difficulties, they go back to the landlords and say, we need a reduction in rent, and it's either a reduction of rent or you will have no rent.
Well, that's it. Yeah, you either take a small hit or it lies empty for however long. It's funny because obviously like Cineworld in town and at Silverburn, obviously they've got the Starbucks sort of concession as well. So they're obviously trying to draw people in that way. And then I think was it last month at Silverburn, they installed, it's like a gaming arcade as you go up the stairs. So it used to be like the sort of food and drinks concessions and you could go and buy your tickets. They've done away with that now, and it's just like this. The food and drink obviously is still there, but they've got this sort of like, it's like air hockey and, you know, basketball and like motorcycle rides and stuff like that. So I don't know if they're trying to bring people in that way as well. It just seems like really clutching at straws to actually get people to go in and watch a movie. And yet we were there on Friday night in a medium-sized screen, I would say, not the biggest, not the smallest, and it was full, like completely full. So people do want to go to the cinema. Like I feel like they're trying all these different sort of gimmicky things. It's like maybe if they just like focused on actually just giving people like a good service to go to the cinema, like people still want to go, they still want to see movies. Like it's still obviously the summer holidays up here. It just seems like they're trying, or rather they're throwing everything at it instead of actually just focused on what they are, which is a place that shows films.
Yes, but that's common within business. Now it has been for a long time. You look at any sort of brand that has become popular, they diversify. So you get Doc Martens who sell Doc Marten boots and shoes, and they have diversified into like sandals and clothing and bags and all sorts of accessories and things like that. And you see it time and time again. Superdry, for instance,
Yeah.
Which was the choice of the BAM for a while.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah.
And Burberry as well. Obviously, these were brands that had been about for quite a while, and they had a market, but they didn't have a large market, and suddenly exploded. And it was a case of, well, we need to catch up with this. We need to maximise our profits here. We need to diversify. We need to offer people other things to come into the shop, not just for, a Burberry coat. So they're coming in for something else. They're getting a bag. They're getting all sorts of stuff. And what happens then is they spread themselves too thin, or they get sold. So the original people who were running it and working with it and building it up are no longer in charge. It's an equity firm that's bought it, and they're buying it in order to maximise profits. They don't really care about what they're actually selling. So that whole side of it goes out the window. And there's a breaking point. They don't become fashionable. They're not as fashionable anymore. All that kind of thing. It's a massive crash. I was reading about a few of them. Some places where the value of the company went up and up, and it was like 20 billion this company was valued at, and they sold it at 20 billion, and then 3 years later the company was sold for 12 because it just completely it just gone after that. It was sold at kind of the optimum time for the original owners. But and it's exactly the same with entertainment, because if you think about it, there was a number of like record shops around, like big ones like Virgin and Tower. HMV is still there, and HMV is a classic example. HMV is a classic example of that, because it's actually quite difficult to find music in HMV now.
Because it's like T-shirts and Funko Pops and all that sort of stuff.
They did that, and Virgin did something similar, because they had the Virgin Megastore, which was up at the top of Buchanan Street. They refitted an entire floor to make it a sort of a gaming area, so you could actually go in and sort of play games and all that. And there was like a lot of like banks of PCs and consoles set up, so you could rent some time and all that. And there was that kind of idea. They were trying to diversify as well. And of course, it didn't work, because the people who were doing that were already going to gaming places, and they didn't need to go into the centre of town and go to Virgin in order to do that. And they certainly weren't going to buy any music or anything when they were there, or videos when they were there. So, because it was massively overpriced. same as HMV. The HMV have managed to hang on in there. Mind you, all their shops are like half the size they used to be. And everything.
I know. And as you say, it's like it's not the same shop in the sense that it's not the same stock that they used to carry. Like if you want to, for example, in town, certainly in Glasgow city centre, if you wanted something like a wee bit different, or maybe like some European cinema, you would go to FOP, which now obviously only has one branch because the Byres Road one shut. It's now just Union Street, because what they carry in HMV is like your big blockbusters and stuff like that, because that will get people, obviously, people are going to go and buy that over, say, like a strange French film that nobody's heard of or something like that. Like, so they know their audience are in there to buy, a Fantastic Four Funko Pop set and a T-shirt that has like their favourite character on it and stuff like that. So you're right, like it definitely has, but it just seems it's such a strange one in cinema when, as an entertainment venue, if somebody's going to come in and play an arcade game, that doesn't necessarily convert into, while we're here, we'll just buy a ticket for, a 2-hour film. Like it's such a strange way of trying to attract custom, because I don't think the two necessarily correlate. Somebody who's going up to, play air hockey with their kid isn't then going to go, we'll just buy tickets while we're here. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a strange setup.
Yeah, and I think it actually puts people off going, because if you are actually there to go in and see a film, and you go up into it, and obviously there's this whole sort of gaming area, and it'll be full of wee kids and everything all running about and going mental, because it will not be supervised, of course, because
it's not.
Staff, there's hardly any staff in the place. That they may have introduced some of that, but they won't have added any extra staff to actually take care of it. And staff do not go up to patrons and say, see your kid there that's smashing up that table, get it to stop, because they won't do that. They don't get paid enough to get involved in fights with parents and stuff, and that stops them from actually going into the cinemas. They'll say, well, I'm not going to go into the cinema if you're going to speak to me like that. So it'll put people off when they go up into these places, and it's just this massive wanes. And they're saying, well, if that's what it's like here, what's it going to be like in the screen? So for instance, as you would turn up, see all this, but you've already got your tickets. So you're going to go to the film anyway. But you'd say, well, see, the next time, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to the View. I'm going to go somewhere else. That kind of idea. Yeah. So yes, it's interesting. I don't know what's going to happen with Cineworld in the town, I suspect they will pull out because they cannot be making money off it at all. No. They just can't. They've got 18 screens, and like you say, at certain times of the day, it's busy. And but that may be only like a Friday and a Saturday, like night and during the day when it's the weekend and you're taking the kids to, if it's like, well, typical Scottish summer, it's pissing with rain or the wind's blowing you over at every opportunity. So yeah, you'll take your kids to the cinema, but you won't do it on a Monday or a Wednesday afternoon and things like that. So there's a kind of a die-hard audience that goes during the week, but it's quite small, and it's pensioners and it's people with unlimited cards. So they're not really making the money off of that because you can go and see 2 films in a month and you paid your unlimited card. Yeah. So they're not going to businesses. The big cinemas don't do the business. Now, I don't know what the etiquette is in terms of, do they actually run a film all the way through? There's nobody in the auditorium. I very much doubt it. I know, have to run it for a certain period, but I don't know.
Just in case somebody walks in late, because I was even thinking, like, see, there are concessions on every floor. It's not worth the electricity to open them up, like all of them, because there's only going to be, because certainly when I've gone during festival time, i.e. during the week, so like your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday sort of thing, the floor where the festival is on is busy because you've got your press screenings and your regular screenings and people are going in and out of them. But the rest of the Cineworld is quiet because obviously, as you say, it's like a Tuesday afternoon in February, they'll have obviously their peaks and troughs like school holidays and things like that. But it's sad in a way because obviously like Glasgow was known as like Cinema City and there was, the highest amount of cinemas per head of population. And now like the one sort of big one that's left in the city centre is obviously really struggling. And it is obviously testament to the way our habits have changed, obviously, particularly since COVID as well, when people just got used to streaming platforms and, various like watching series and films like that way. And then going, I'll just wait till that comes out on Netflix or whatever, because as we've said, a 2-week run at the cinema will translate into it'll hit one of these platforms soon enough. But it feels really sad that a city that was genuinely so engaged with film as a format has sort of let all that slip away, I guess.
Oh, definitely, yes. It's not good. Another sign of it being in trouble is that the press screenings have moved away from the Renfrew Street cinema. I just got
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get a notification saying what the next films are, and the next ones and any future ones are going to be at Silverburn rather than in the city centre. Now, we've been there before. We were there, maybe about 10 years ago. They were at Silverburn, and then they were at Springfield Quay. They were at the Odeon there, which was really nice because that's all of the cinemas there. VIP,
nice.
Yeah. So it was good, and then it went back to the Cineworld at Renfrew Street, which seemed to suit an awful lot of people because, like, most people would be able to quite easily come into the town.
I was going to say
public transport, stuff like that,
I mean, obviously Silverburn is well served by transport, but most people probably have to get into town first and then get the transport from town to Silverburn, it seems odd. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm going to do. I get a bus into town, and it's the Buchanan Street bus station. There's a bus from there. There's an express bus goes into, I think it's Crookston or something it goes to. So I'll just be getting that. And it's easy enough, and I don't think it's like a terribly long journey. It's only like 20 minutes from the centre of town, so it's fine. But it's just the convenience of it at the moment for myself is when I finish, I've got like a 3-minute walk to get to bus.
Yeah.
where it just adds on a wee bit, but it's not that much. I mean, when you look at it, getting to see movies for nothing anyway. So
that's true.
There's a plus side to it and everything as well. I used to do the Silverburn thing, but I had a second car then, so I was able to drive, and my daughter didn't drive at that time, so I had exclusive access to it. So it was much easier. Whereas now, barely see the car unless there's a problem with it. So.
And then do you get the dad?
Oh, I just had that this weekend because the exhaust broke and it needed like a full exhaust.
Oh no!
But having said that, it's a Corsa that we've got, and this is the first exhaust it's needed, and it's 11 years old, so that's not too bad. That's all right, But yeah, we're thinking of trading it in and getting something else, something a little bit newer, because things will start to really go wrong with it, I think. You know, it's been doing all right because we've not been like totally hammering it, but you know, once one thing starts to go and with like a wee problem with like the engine light coming on and stuff like that, which turned out to be, it was more a sensor thing. The sensor was gubbed rather than the engine was gubbed, which is always nice.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, the thing, you know what it's like. After a certain age, things do start to go wrong, shall we say?
Yeah. Well, I know a guy who might want to go car shopping with you. I just remembered at Gareth's birthday, and Leslie was talking about getting an electric Abarth, and the look of disappointment on his face. And she was like, no, she was like, they're really good, they're really nippy. And he was like, but it's electric. He just couldn't get past that. Yeah.
For most people, it's absolutely fine. They just want something that goes from A to B. And I class ourselves in that, but for the likes of Chris, who very much is into his cars and everything about them, the engine is the centre part of it, you know. Yeah. It may look very sleek and very shiny, but it's what's under the bonnet that really counts, you know. And
if it doesn't make the big vroom vroom noises, he's not interested.
Yeah. Oh, he was really quite upset about that as well, because on the electric Abarth there is a button on it that you can engage to make the broom broom noises. So
oh, no way.
Yes, and he knew about that, and he was like, just the look of disgust in his face was quite something to see. I can understand that, because why get an electric car and then fake it?
Having said that, though, there's been a few times, like, I remember when I was down in London with my friend, nearly getting run over by electric cars because they are so silent that even if you are paying attention, they are like, they come out of nowhere, whereas obviously a normal sort of like petrol or diesel car you can hear coming, whereas the electrics, I was nearly on the bonnet of a few of them. So.
Yeah, people are attuned to listening for cars as well as, you know, look and listen. But it's a different skill when you've just got this quiet whir coming along the road. You have to be really careful, and I think it has caused problems. It causes problems with these electric bikes and all that as well, because they come out of nowhere at speed.
They are terrifying. I remember when I worked in town, my biggest fear, especially if like I was walking around like Sucky Hall Street or whatever, I couldn't have my headphones in because you can't hear them coming, obviously, and they were flying up and down, obviously doing like Just Eat deliveries or something like that, up and down Sucky Hall Street, and you really did have to have your wits about you, because when Sucky Hall Street was divided by that scaffolding as well, there was obviously a lot less space to walk in, so if a bike was coming at you at speed, you had very limited places to get out of the way.
It's kind of scary, it really is. And I used to go into town and pick up Julie from Fraser's, so I would be from the north end of the city right down through the city centre, and they were everywhere, and they would come like past you and all that, like ignoring traffic lights and all sorts of things, and you're going, this is actually quite concerning. It's quite scary, because you can keep your wits about you, but they're coming from like blind spots and all sorts, and they don't have lights. And the bikes are black, of course, so it's difficult to see them. And obviously, if you're in the car, like you say, if you've got headphones still, you've got no perception of what's going on outside, you know, and you don't want to roll down the windows because Glasgow's stinking. So.
Exactly. Although it's been the home of Spider-Man this week, if my friend Jackie, her office is on Bothwell Street, so she's literally been hanging out of her office window all week filming videos of them doing like big stunts and stuff like that. So by all accounts, Tom Holland has been quite generous with his time, actually, and has met lots of wee kids in full costume. And again, I suppose it's nice for Glasgow to be getting a wee bit of feature in something, I suppose, because then it'll maybe encourage more people. Like, I saw the Running Man trailer, and you're going, that's the Anderson Shopping Centre and things like that, so I like doing that wee kind of spotting thing. But I think Spider-Man might actually be one of the biggest we've had, and for such an extended period of time as well, so it can only be good for the city. Yes,
it gets the city on a lot of wee TikTok videos and things like that. There's been a lot of stuff going about, people filming stuff actually out on the streets. One of the people on Instagram, is it the Scottish movie geek guy or something?
Oh yes, I met him at Glasgow Film Festival. He was lovely.
Yes, he posted a few things actually from the Spider-Man shoot as well. So so it's good to see actually, and it's nice to see sort of wee behind the scenes things about how they actually put these big sort of action set pieces together as well. And it's all done very small, lots of intricate wee bits and all that. And you do actually, I saw images of like Spider-Man actually in the air because it was
they
held up
looked
on a crane and stuff.
amazing. Yeah.
So they do all that as well. It's not just totally CGI. It's actually there's some practical effects in there as well. So yeah, it looks pretty good. I was quite impressed, and the fact that they managed to get decent weather as well, and it actually went ahead as normal. I think there was like 2 days they had to shut down because of the winds and stuff. Because you don't want a wee guy dangling about on a crane.
No, 80-mile-an-hour winds. No.
Yeah, don't think that's a good advert. Yeah, they might end up with like a blue plaque in the bottom about here's where Spider-Man splatted into the building.
Oh, the thought of it. That is, I know. I mean, one day it was like the bus going into town obviously was shunted from side to side. Can you imagine being up a crane and hanging on for dear life? So yeah, no, I mean, it makes me feel really like sort of oddly proud, I guess, because we don't have that much going on, like not going on in general, but like not a lot of films are made here. So when something of that size and caliber and the actual stars are there, it does feel quite exciting.
Yeah, it shows the film board or whatever they're called, the ones that represent Glasgow, are doing their job. It's probably the Scottish one more than anything else.
It'll be like Screen Alaba or something, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So they're actually doing their job properly, and they're obviously getting the sort of correct levels of funding from government in order to offer these subsidies and everything. Some of the film productions, though, are quite cheeky about the way they get these subsidies from various countries because they don't necessarily film in the country. They use services within the country. So it costs quite a lot to put together, like, say, CG effects. So if you do 10% of your work in a country, then that gets done. So 10% can be behind the scenes stuff. It can be the CG stuff as well.
Right. Okay.
So that's why sometimes you see things, you'll see like New South Wales Film Board and things like that, but obviously nothing was filmed in New South Wales. It's got to do with logistics services behind the scenes and all that sort of stuff as well. It's the way they justify getting some of these grants, which is kind of sneaky because the whole point of these film funds is to showcase their locations. So yeah, not good. But
because I do think there was a bit of not a backlash, I think that's too strong a word, but there was commentary certainly around the fact that they weren't using any Scottish crew. But I'm not sure if that's I feel like that's a normal thing though, where you would just shift the crew from location to location. You might pick up a few freelancers as you go to different sort of cities or locations, but I think it's normal to have a standard core crew who just, or am I reading that wrong?
No, because there's the continuity there. You need people who know what's happening from start to finish. So you need the same crew, you need the same carpenters, set designers and all this so that it's consistent. All the people the crew that move everything, all the logistics crew, they all just move from one location to another. I mean, look with Mission Impossible when they were filming in Venice and it was during COVID. They hired a ship and they had all the crew on the ship.
That's right. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. They all lived in a big anchored boat, didn't they, for months?
Yeah. So, yes, they take the crew with them. And like I say, they'll have local people in these places. They will have like location managers and all that and people who handle all the extras and all this sort of stuff. But the core crew is, it's there from the start to the finish. And it'll probably be the same people that they use all the time. Because they all want to work with, especially like Tom Cruise, who seems to just go from one project to another, and it's his production company, so they'll just be hiring all the same people all the time if they're happy with them. Yeah,
that's true, actually. Have you seen the celebrity rumours this week that he and Anna de Armas are dating?
Oh, Tom, for goodness sake. Age appropriate, come on.
She's 37, I think I read, and he is, 62?
2, yes.
Yeah. So it does always bring me back to that Mrs. Merton question. What did you see in The Millionaire? But no, there was pictures of them. They were on holiday together on a yacht somewhere, and then they were out in a street, I think it was like New York or something, like holding hands. Now, given that her last partner was the son of the current Cuban dictator, and now she's moved on to the number 2 of an alleged cult, her taste in men is quite bad.
Yeah, where does she go from here,
I know. But yes, that was my celebrity gossip for this week. I was like, that's nice. Unusual pairing. What do they talk about?
Yeah, you've got to wonder just what they have in common, really. I suppose they've both been in high-profile action films this year, so you never know. Yeah.
Talk about stunts all day.
Yes, quite. Why are you hanging from the ceiling, Tom? Well,
I know. I imagine he's one of these guys that doesn't even just set up an alarm. He gets up at like 4:30 every morning and does like a 10K just for shits and giggles before he's even had breakfast. And then I just imagine that every inch of his life is so dictated by like routine. And, you know, if he's not working on a project, he's probably like doing loads of gym, scoping out scripts. Like, I can't imagine he has like real downtime. I imagine a lot of his life is accounted for.
Yes, I think he has very tight time scales on everything. Like you say, because he always seems to have so many things on the go, and he moves pretty much directly from one to the other. So yes, you can imagine he's either his internal clock, same way like sort of the Jack Reacher character, he had this internal clock that just he knew exactly what he was supposed to do at whatever time and all that. But yeah, it's very, very strange. It's a very strange thing for a guy in his 60s to still be doing, but he makes money, so why not?
That's true.